Well, good morning and welcome to Morning Java from Denver, brought to you as always by our friends at the Get-Go Cafe and Market, where they have really fresh stuff where you can go and drown your sorrows.
Go get yourself a fresh breakfast, a fresh lunch, a fresh dinner. Make you feel better.
Something light to lighten the mood. You're down at field level. What was the mood?
Not light.
Not light.
Ben ran right past me leaving the field, and he kind of ran into a couple of his own guys just
to get off.
Yeah, I mean, he was just completely lost. People wanted to stop and talk to him, obviously. He wanted to leave the field. He was clearly upset with the way that the game finished out. He wasn't doing any of this or anything leaving the field.
Well, James Conner wasn't exactly a picnic afterward either, was he?
Yeah, he said he was, ticked off. Didn't really want to talk a whole lot about what happened out there. Gave a lot of short answers.
And apologized for it. Typical James, right? He was like, I'm sorry, I was short with you guys and with me too. And he's just like, whatever, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of anger. Probably they're more angry in that locker room that they let this one slip away than even the fan base. If
Which
that's
sometimes
possible.
can be hard to fathom.
I don't know.
That's a point that I think is really worth making every once in a while. And being here in Denver, where they've had so many of these tough losses, I talked about it last week and wrote about it. How it's the hardest loss from a locker room standpoint that I'd ever covered was here. The Fitz-Toussaint fumble game. Of course, there's another fumble. They take it so hard, and I just wish people who think that these guys aren't mad because they have a chance to brush up and clean up and go stand in front of the podium and say all the right things would get that. Was there anything positive to take away from this? Anything?
You know, I know people are down on the defense right now, but they gave up 24 points in a game that they were -4 in the
turnovers. Yeah.
I mean, that's really hard on the defense in that situation. They gave up really one long, sustained drive. Obviously, it was the game-winning drive, which is tough.
That hurts, too.
And they allowed a 100-yard rusher for the first time this season in Philip Lindsay. A couple of guys that I talked to in the locker room said they were surprised how fast he was. That was the first time they ever played him.
He blew through those holes. That guy, and he talked, too. Man, that guy never shut up.
Yeah, it wasn't just blowing through the holes either. His touchdown, he runs into the back of his own lineman, and he kind of edges and finds his way around the corner there into the end zone. And I mean, he looked really quick around the Steelers' bigger defensive line. But, the one positive for me was Hargrave again. The guy just... Yeah,
and a sack, and he's starting to look like a big-time player.
Yeah, he's got 6 now from the nose tackle position, which is unheard of.
Yeah, I can't... I know we're, to look at the defense, and they did some good things. It still comes back to the offense. There's no way to avoid it because if you go to each of Denver's possessions that resulted in a score, they started with either the blocked field goal or a turnover. And it's just, you're putting them in bad positions. Even if it's not bad field position, it's just a bad position.
It's a quick change of possession really changes the momentum of the game. You saw it on the first Roethlisberger interception. Boom, boom, touchdown.
When the Steelers were leading, by the way, 17-10, and were going down the field and really could have taken care of business.
Yeah, I mean, there were 3 big plays for me. The one was obviously the Xavier Grimble, which you and I have talked endlessly. We love this guy's physique. He lowers the shoulder. Everything you'd want from the guy, fumbles it out of the end zone. The other 2 were receivers. AB steps out of bounds on a ball that he always brings in down the sideline. And then, the other one was James Washington. He had a chance to make one of those really big catches, and he hits the ground and loses.
Combat catches.
That wasn't even a combat catch. The only thing he was fighting there was himself.
Yep.
All right, Taylor, when we're not at sporting events covering things, sometimes we still get our sports on TV, and sometimes it's good to get away from, the actual games and that sort of thing and just sort of live in the fiction world. So you were telling me you have a particular favorite show?
Yeah, it got canceled. It's called Pitch, and now, I don't watch a lot of baseball, but, this was my favorite show for however long it was on. It's a fictional story. It's a girl that comes up through the minor league baseball system and plays for the Padres. It only lasted for 1 season, but it was so good. It was on Fox, I believe. It just so cool, and it ended at like such a bad spot, like a cliffhanger, and I'm still kind of mad about it. Like they need to bring back Pitch.
You're not the first person who's told me about this
Oh,
show,
yeah.
and that's why it sort of struck me. It's like that they need a second season. It
Yeah.
happens all the time to shows now. I mean, ever since like Family Guy, they brought back
Oh, yeah.
things like that. Bring back Pitch. There's a lot of people who want to see it, but no, I mean, I really haven't had a show I get into like that. I don't watch Ballers on
Yeah.
HBO, even though you have former Steeler Rashad Mendenhall on the writing staff with that, and but I really enjoy like the historic documentaries, like the ESPN 30 for 30s, that sort of thing. Some of my favorites, some of them are things from my childhood, the Reggie Miller winning time one, things I remember, but then some of the ones that go, further back into history, stuff you don't know about. I mean, it's almost like, maybe I'm just a sports nerd and I like to learn things and, find out about, events I might not have been around for. So those tend to be my favorite sports viewing.
Did you watch Hard Knocks?
On and off. I do.
Okay. You watched the Browns one?
This year I made
It
a
was
habit
incredible.
because it was the Browns.
It was
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah,
that
God,
was-
there's so many characters, and they're pretty much all gone. None of them are on the team anymore. They got fired.
That
but
seems to happen. That show
Yeah.
can curse people.
yeah, it was amazing. Todd Haley was the star.